To our next panel, who works in esports, a peek behind our evil curtain. I'm Austin Rodriguez. I'm a student at the University of Arkansas. It's also my first time doing a panel like this, so I'm kind of nervous, but it'll be fun. Thanks. I'm the member of the Student Advisory Board for ReWired Fest. I've been working on the event a little bit. I know a little bit. I'm excited for it. It's been great so far. I'm very excited to introduce a few members from pro esports organizations, the Evil Geniuses today. They're giving us a peek behind their evil curtain and how to get into that industry and esports. So first to the stage, we have Cameron, a brand marketing specialist for Evil Geniuses. Sorry. Next, we have Jesse Roberts, a marketing project manager. And last but not least, we have Mikey, the campus program manager for Evil Geniuses. All right, we'll get on to the first question. What I want to know about you guys. So first, before we begin, really, could you describe 3 words that explains Evil Geniuses, what they stand for?
Do you want us to do 1 word each? We can do that.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, so my first word, I can go first, I know this. My word is disrupting. We are an organization that wants to take the esports world and disrupt it and take down, the bullying, the cyber things that happen within the space and say, we don't want that here. That's not welcomed here. We also want to disrupt and bring more individuals who identify in other areas that we don't see a lot of gamers in, people who are she, her, they, thems, people in marginalized communities. We really want to make sure that they feel safe here and that they have an opportunity to come play games and to come be on panels like this and to have interactions with us. So disrupting is the word that I use every time I think of a word for EG.
Yeah, and I think for myself, Mikey kind of leaned into mine. I was going to say inclusive, because really at EG, all the different walks of life that you see and all the different people that you get to work with, it's just been very exciting. And then you just have people from all sorts of backgrounds. So all sorts of backgrounds personally, but also work-wise in terms of their previous experience. So I think that's been one of the most exciting parts for me.
Sweet. They took my top 2 words, actually. So I will throw in my fun one, and I'm going to say it in a British accent to make it climatic. EG is totally wicked in the best way possible. We do really cool shit. I'm not going to lie. We do some really cool things, disrupting. We're super inclusive, and EG is a great place to be.
Wow. You guys sound like the troublemakers of the company.
Don't say that. We got people here in the front that know our boss.
All right, next up.
They are also troublemakers, the 3 at the front.
Okay. Now, we have these cool words. What is Evil Geniuses, by the way, and what do you do for them?
Go ahead, Cameron. No.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so surface level, EG is Evil Geniuses. What we say EG is a esports team based out of Seattle, Washington. With EG, I'm the brand marketing specialist. So high level, the brand team I would describe as the masterminds behind all of our marketing initiatives, and we really make sure that we are in alignment with what we want y'all to perceive EG as. As the brand marketing specialist, I help build decks, I do recap decks, I help ideate on the marketing strategy. I've been doing some work in data, so I'm excited about that. And then I help with our on-site activations, which is why I'm here with y'all today, and our booth is in the expo hall.
And then building off that, I would say that kind of high level, EG is really just a multimedia entertainment company. So, because when you look at it, we have the athletic side, which is all of our esports teams competing. We have a database company with us, and then we also have our streamer influencer side, content creators, so the EGCC. And so we really just have a mixed bag of a little bit of everything, which in esports you really need just at this stage of development. So I would say that's kind of high level EG. For myself, I'm a marketing project manager, specifically working with our data team, working with the creator collective at EG, and then also working on the education D&I side. So basically any marketing requests that are coming from those verticals, departments of EG, I'm the one that kind of facilitates them through the marketing team and make sure that they get accomplished and executed.
Then I'm the campus program manager. So I oversee our intern program. So the Genius League is my baby. I oversee 10 interns right now in 6 different arenas. They're all remote for the most part. We have a couple in LA and a couple in Seattle where we're located, but most are kind of around the country. Our big thing with the Genius League is making sure that individuals know that you can join esports without being a professional gamer. I cannot game to save my damn life. I'm horrible. So I have interns in here that, are interested in esports in some capacity, but a lot of them don't have the experience and they just want to enter this space. And that's what we're really doing here. We have a Discord, the Genius League Discord, big plug there. So if you want to learn more about that, join it. We do cover letter reviews, resume reviews. There's a paint night tonight, which is a really fun activity we do. So we've got a lot of different opportunities to tell people, you don't have to be the best League of Legends player to work in esports, because I know I'm not. So jump in there and have a good time. And then one fun fact, I guess, about Evil Geniuses as well is that we're the oldest esports organization in North America. So that's a fun fact that we like to throw in there too. We're pretty old, so
Wow,
at least
so
in the
old.
gaming world.
Well, excellent. Honestly, I see the esports gaming industry as like a really cool thing to join. And I've always wondered, like, how exactly do you get connected? And once you get connected, what professional skills and strengths do they enjoy that you have in order to get a job for them?
I can take that. So in terms of getting connected, I know that a lot of times people will always be, especially in business majors or marketing majors, everyone really harps on LinkedIn. But esports is kind of an esports and streaming entertainment industries in general are an interesting place in the sense that Twitter is your LinkedIn. So you really have to be kind of just building the connections out on Twitter and then really engaging there. Obviously still use LinkedIn, but I would say that's kind of the biggest thing for me. I happen to be following some gaming companies on Twitter, interacted with them a lot, and then one day I just straight up asked for an internship, and they gave it to me. So it's sometimes really is that simple, and then from there it's just taking that and running with it and building it, and making sure that you're building actual connections versus just trying to I would say basically just asking for favors. Like you want to make sure that you have something of value to provide. So I'd say that's kind of the biggest thing with establishing those connections.
Definitely. So for how I got here is I literally stumbled from a potato field into the gaming world. I worked for a large manufacturing company with potatoes, but I knew my skill set. I knew I was good with interns. I knew I could build a really robust internship program and take what Evil Genius already had with the Genius League and bring it into something bigger and better. So that's what I did. So there's a lot of transferable skills that come through. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about. It's kind of that gatekeepingness of it all. Are you a good communicator? Awesome. Are you detail oriented? Great. We need those types of people too. And esports is not just like a football organization is not just the football team. We need those individuals too to come in and do payroll, which is not fun, but we need it. And we need a legal team and we need partnerships teams and we need those individuals who are going to stand up and be the backbone. And that's one area that not everyone thinks about, which I think is incredibly important to us. So there's skills that you can transfer from one industry to another. We are all really great examples of that, as we did not all come from esports at all. So that's one thing that I would really say, to highlight those skills and make sure that you've got those qualifications popping out on your resume when you do apply.
Yeah, and I think to build off of the skill set thing, going off of what Mikey said, I have no technical skills. I will be totally honest with y'all. I don't know how to code. I'm horrible with numbers, right? So going into a career, I was like, here I am. I love to talk to people. I like to laugh. I like to have a good time. So bringing in those soft skills was huge for me, and being at an organization that accepts that and appreciates that is also huge. In terms, I think the first question was how I got connected to esports. I don't want to sound cliche. I've always heard it's not about what you know, but it's who you know. That's how I got connected with esports. I kept in contact with a certain individual probably for over 7 years, really admired her, the work that she was doing in Major League Baseball. I saw that she had left Major League Baseball. She posted on social media that she was hiring on her team. I reached out to her, wanted some more information about the job, daily responsibilities, and then I started looking into EG. And I fell in love with the company, the mission, the direction they were headed. I applied. I went through 5 interviews, and who I kept in contact with for 7 to 9 years is now my boss. So really, like Jesse said, building relationships that aren't so transactional is also so important. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess communication really is key in all of that. What's new skill? Oh, sorry. What new skills did you guys learn on the job? And like, you can like say a story on how you learned that.
Biggest
skill.
stuff is like gamer slang. I've had interns say words to me and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, or the acronyms.
Yeah.
I had a running list when I first onboarded, and I think it's 2 pages full of acronyms. I didn't know that LOL didn't mean laugh out loud. It was League of Legends.
Nope, no idea.
So
Pog was
yeah.
one that I was like, am I cool? Is Pog good or bad? I don't know. I had interns constantly saying that. So that's a big one. It's for people that aren't, Jesse came from background a little bit more of the esports world, but Cameron and I are like, you called me what? Is that a good thing? So that's a really big one, I think. I'm also not technical, so learning how to do data is a really big deal for me. And I'm like, I don't want to do this Excel spreadsheet, but I need to understand what's happening here. And then the activation side, actually, being able to be at events like this, I've never had to do that before. I've just usually gone to campuses and recruited that way. So that's big. And then Twitter. Twitter's a beast. But I had to learn how to do Twitter and Discord, which are like random things that I never thought I'd be talking about and living and breathing constantly. So those are my big areas, just because of the career path that I took. I had some of those like more corporate-y tasks in line.
Yeah, I'd say for myself, I've gotten a lot more organized as a human being in the last 6 months. I would say before, I worked at a startup before this, and things kind of just happen, and you don't note a lot. There's not a lot of documentation usually at startups. And so coming to EG and having to actually start that process and understand it, in general, I would say that my life has changed a lot in the sense that I'm like noting stuff all the time now, but also just in general, I'm a lot more organized with spreadsheets and everything. And so it's kind of just been like an interesting skill set that's also like really started to affect my personal life. That's been fun. But other than that, I would say a lot of like budget, working with numbers, that was something that I never really had to do previously. And so budgeting, working with contractors, logistics, all of that has just drastically improved for me in the last several months.
Numbers, yeah. I think for me too. Learning how to read data was something I've had to learn, and I'm still learning on a day-to-day basis. I think not necessarily a skill set, but a characteristic is patience. This industry is very fast. It's a very fast pace, and we do a lot of things on the fly. And so I've found myself getting frustrated when things aren't getting done quickly. I feel like we're not being efficient when realistically it's because we need more time. So being more patient, and then strategic thinking. In marketing, there does have to be a lot of strategy behind what we're putting out there. And while I think I know strategic thinking, I don't. I haven't found like my niche yet and how to do it and perform it. So still learning how to think strategically and think ahead for planning purposes.
Nice. There is. Have you heard of Poggers?
Yes. Yeah, I know Poggers.
You know
Now I do.
Poggers? Yeah, now
Discord, emotes, not emojis.
Yeah.
Emotes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, here at the university, we have a special emote that we're trying to get off the ground. It's so you are Cogs, the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
So we're trying to start Hoggers here.
That's amazing. That's pretty cool. So actually, one of our interns that's at our booth right now, Caitlin, she's a graphic design intern, and she has done a bunch of our like emotes in our Discord and within our Slack for personal reasons. So you should definitely talk to her about that. She's done like Inspired. We've got Vulcan with the ratio over him, all that kind of fun stuff. So definitely talk to her because she could help you out.
All right, cool.
That's cool. I do know who he is though now. It's taken a while.
Okay, now to some really cool stories about EG. What are some like mind-blowing moments that have happened while working with EG?
I'll jump in. Okay, so the 25th of October, I would have been at EG. I will be at EG for 3 months. So only been here a little over 2 months. And the coolest thing was my first League of Legends tournament. I went to LCS finals in Chicago, and I had no idea how big this space is. The United Center had 17,000 people staring up at 4 ginormous screens. And I come from traditional sports, and I'm also ex-athlete, so I'm innately competitive. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but this is crazy. The noisemakers were going off. Everybody was going mad. And I loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, actually very similar to that. So I started in April, and it was right as we were on our big championship run, soon to be, for League of Legends. And so right as I had started, we had just had an okay regular season, and then we get into playoffs, and all of a sudden we're winning 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, and we make it to the championship. And I had only been to kind of a small, like, local esports tournament before that. And so this was really my first esports event. And I've been following League of Legends since probably about 2011. And so for me, it was just a very big moment, and it was in Houston, my hometown. And so it was just very fun. And then being on the floor right as our team had won the finals, it was just, I don't know, there's a lot of emotions, and everyone across EG in general, everyone was yelling, crying, and everything. So it was just a very fun moment to be a part of, because that was week 2. So, I mean, it basically, it started here, and so I was joking with everyone, it's like, it can only go downhill from here, because it can never match this kind of energy again for me. But it was just awesome, so.
So mine's it's similar to all of these as well. So I've been here for about a year now. Very interested in the things that we're doing. I know, especially in esports, right? But my big thing was the Genius League, the intern program, was up for a PR social news award, and we won. So I got to fly out to DC and accept the award on behalf of the Evil Geniuses and the Genius League, which was absolutely fantastic. I then turned right around from going to DC I think I was there for 2 days. I flew to Boston for PAX East and was on a panel with a couple other EG members, which was really fantastic. In the midst of our panel on Saturday, we won in Houston at Spring Split to go to the championships the following day. As soon as the panel wrapped up, coworkers and I turned to each other and said, how do we get to Houston from Boston? We got to figure this out because we don't have much time. So we went to a big celebration party with Predator, who had just been announced as one of our partners, which was really fantastic. Got a couple hours of sleep. Flew from Boston to Houston, were on the ground for about less than 24 hours, got to experience and meet Jesse for the first time, got to experience that win, my first LAN tournament ever. I still don't get what happens in League of Legends, but I cheered, and it was fantastic to be there. And then we quickly turned around and went to Chicago for our Peak 6, who's our parent company. They had a big 25-year anniversary party in Chicago with Bruno Mars. Within a week and a half, 2 weeks, I hit multiple cities I'd never been to before. I got to celebrate with my team members. I got to be recognized as an incredible program with the Genius League. So it was a quick turnaround, and it's kind of been downhill from there, right? You know, it's been real slow, but we're excited to be a part of those things. And those moments happen all the time. There's so many different moments that we can kind of talk to and have those conversations. And being at events like this, I think all of us have made more connections here, or people are coming up and saying, hey, I saw you on Twitter. I've seen you in Discord. Let's connect in a different way. Or like, you really helped me get a job because of your resume reviews. Awesome, great, fantastic. So those are the things that we really love, but those big high moments, those are really hard to beat.
You also said something that made me think of something else. Something that's so bizarre to me. I don't come from the gaming space, right? So I didn't know that people are very well known by your gamer tag and not your regular name. So I'm with my coworker. Her name is Annabelle, but her gamer tag is Yumi. Uni. I don't know if any of y'all know her, but she is like hopping in the esports community. And I remember I was at PAX West in Seattle, and there were just random people coming up like, where's Uni? Where's Uni? And I was like, who is Uni? And it's Annabelle. So it's just incredible. Like, the community has just blown my mind away, and I'm so happy where I'm at.
I really like the community.
What's your gamer tag?
Oh. Okay, well, my first name's Austin. My middle name's Patrick. So I just put some letters together, ended up with Ospat.
Oh, that's a good one. We like that. All right. Mm-hmm. Mine's mic drop. It's easy. Mikey, mic drop, easy, you know?
Jesse, what's yours?
So my name on most things, because I have a lot. If you're a gamer, you probably have like 3 or 4 like different names, but my main one that I was using for a long time was Laredo Potato. And
I did see that.
just,
I was like, a potato's in here.
yeah, so that's just because my middle name's Laredo, and then that was the nickname that my parents gave me a long time ago. So, it stuck.
Nice. Well, you have something in common, potatoes.
I know, the Discord and potato. I saw that and I was like, who's coming for my thunder?
Yeah, we always joke about it because my family used to own a farm and we also own a ranch. And so me and Mikey instantly connected on the whole farm thing.
Yeah, potatoes are pretty cool.
We love French fries. Don't ask me about those. I can go on for hours.
All right. What are your thoughts on like new people watching esports? People like don't know about it at all. They don't know about League of Legends or that whole bit because it's like one of the biggest growing industries. It's about to like overtake football in terms of viewership. So like, what could you speak about that?
I actually love talking to people who have never really watched esports in general, or even just like streaming culture, like whether it's Twitch or YouTube or anything like that. So funnily enough, at the Houston LCS finals that we were just talking about winning, I was there with my mentor and professor for several years, and he had never once played, watched League at all in any way. But he worked in baseball for like 20 years. And so very quickly, it was mind-blowing to me because it's like connecting with people that are my age and like trying to explain League to them if they've never been a gamer is actually like pretty hard because they don't really have like just other general life experience. But since he worked in sports for so long, he just started dropping a lot of terms on me, and I was like, how are you picking this up so fast? And probably by about like the 25-minute mark in the game, he was just like, oh, so now they just killed all them, so now they just get to like march down and basically like win the game and like go destroy like the enemy base, right? And I was like, I feel like when I talk with my parents, it's never this easy. So I actually really enjoy it though, because you also like, every time that you talk with someone new about just explaining a different game or an esport or streaming, you always learn a little bit more about it yourself, I would say, or how to better explain it the next time. Because a lot of times you'll have people that'll kind of like pick up and like latch on to like one thing that you said and really use that to kind of like center their entire like understanding of it around. And so for me, it's always just been nice because it's kind of like nice to be able to like realize that and kind of almost like pitch a few different ways of explaining it to someone and see which clicks for them the best. So I always enjoy it. It actually like helps me solidify my understanding of it better and try to simplify it more each time.
The barrier is pretty difficult, I would say, though. And I mean, try explaining like football to someone that's never watched American football before. It's a little bit hard, the rules around that. And that's one thing we also want to work on is having those conversations to say, here is League of Legends at its most basic. It's kind of like capture the flag. Like that's the best way to kind of put it.
Nobody ever made it that easy for me.
Oh, really? No. We've got this woman right here, Taylor. You might know her. She's really good at explaining it. Yeah. But we also have some people that work for us that are really fantastic, like Taylor, who I just pointed out, who are really good at explaining the game at that base level to really understand what it is. But we do, as an organization and an industry, need to be able to have those conversations. It feels very gatekeepy, I think, in the way of like, oh, you don't know what League of Legends is, then I'm not going to waste the time to do that. And that's not what we're here for at EG. We want to be able to have those conversations and get that information out because there are more people who don't fully understand it than there are that do. The one thing that I love to do is we have, like I've said, I've got those interns that I love, and they consistently are teaching me about different games, about Dota 2, which I still really don't get. And Valorant and CSGO, I can get to like a certain level, but like those are the conversations I love to have with students to say, what do you think is the best option? Why is this champion better than this champion? How do you know which champion to pick? There's 150 of them. Like, what really are we looking at? And you don't need to know everything. Like, you don't need to know every player on one football team, but as long as you know the basics, it really helps for you to be able to enter and want to watch the games. My first weekend as an EG player, or EG employee, my interns at the time were putting on an LG League of Legends tournament, and I tuned in and thought to myself, what the hell did I do? I don't understand this. I'm sitting at home. There's casters, they're yelling things, they're getting excited. There's a blue team and a red team, but I don't know what's going on here. And when I was able to have the conversation and say, what actually just happened here? What are we doing? Why are these casters screaming at certain points and not at others? It really helped. So bringing in that, and that's one thing, like I've said so many times while I've answered this question, is we want to make sure that we break those barriers in a lot of different arenas so that other people want to join us.
And to add to that, I think if you're new to watching esports, just like in the job force, don't be afraid to ask questions. I know I ask 1,000 questions a day, whether it be about my job or it's about the game that's going on. I always relate back to LCS finals because it's the only in-person game that I've been to. But I was sitting not understanding, and I was so sure like to ask questions about every little thing, like why is the line at the top of the champion red? Why is it blue? Why is it this? And I found out that mana is different than energy. So really, really asking those questions and not being afraid to ask them is also important. Like, just ask. Somebody has the answer.
I have a question.
What's up?
Well, you said it's important to ask questions about the job industry. So, like, could you name just a few? You guys are marketing people, right? Like numbers, spreadsheets, communicating with people. What are some other possible opportunities?
You want me to tell you? I got a lot. So data science is a really big one for us right now. We're really looking to expand on that. We love data and numbers. Cameron and I don't, because we don't love numbers, but we as an EG organization really love those. So those fields. We have people in finance that work for us. We have a controller. We have to make sure we pay bills. We've got payroll people. We have the culture team, which is the team that I sit on. So those are your HR folks, making sure that not only our players and creators are following the rules and regulations, but our employees are following those too. We have a very large partnerships team that actually helped us get here today. So we want to make sure that, any other organization, if you think of a traditional company, we have those people too. It's just in a little bit of a smaller realm. I think marketing is our biggest department at this point, with social media, graphics, project management, brand marketing. That's a really large portion of our industry and the company that we sit under. But any opportunity we usually have. Also, we talk about this stuff in the Genius League Discords. You should definitely join those as well.
And I would just say, along with that, the big thing with esports is, and obviously, like we've said it again and again, like obviously you don't have to be a player. There's a lot of other different opportunities, but literally just find whatever your skill set is, like the thing that you are good at, and there is a position for you. So whether you're a really good writer, like you can go be a content producer, you can, there's just so many different fields in terms of like the creative side of things, the number side of things, legal, marketing, everything. And so that's the thing I would stress the most, is really just figure out what you're good at, what you actually enjoy and want to be doing 9 to 5, but also probably on weekends as well and at other times of the night, because that's kind of how esports is. Esports is a global kind of 24/7 gig. So we have teams that are competing in Singapore this past weekend. And so we had our social team that was up from like 10 p.m. to like 5 a.m. working really odd hours. And so there's just a lot of different things there. So
yeah, that's good. They stole my thunder. I think my only other ad would be, find what you're passionate about and go after it. I know what I'm passionate about is competition in sports, and esports was new for me, but a nice happy medium, I think. And like I said, I am so happy where I'm at. If you're influencer status, we have content creators that are awesome. If you like to sell things, we have a sales team on our partnerships team. We run just like a regular business, just in the esports realm. So there is something for you. Check it out for sure.
Awesome. I have a fun question. If you could wake up one day and be really, really good, like best player status in any game and go pro in that game, what would you choose?
I did have this answer planned. I don't know. When I was growing up, DisneyChannel.com was pretty popular. And this was when, Wizards of Waverly Place, That's So Raven, all of those shows were top notch. So I have two, and this would never be an esport, so I know this is a stupid answer. But the Lilo and Stitch sandwich stacker, I was the sandwich stacker. It was awesome. And also, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody's Pizza Party Pickup. Don't know how far y'all got, but I always killed that, so those are mine.
I'm going to have a slightly more, I guess, I don't know, esports-oriented one. Just because, honestly, obviously League of Legends has been my favorite game for years. I would probably go with that just purely because if you're talking like GOAT status, if you're up there, and this might be a name that some people in here recognize, but like Faker, who is kind of the Jordan or the Kobe, whichever side of the argument, or the LeBron, whichever side you're on. But Faker is kind of like the guy in League of Legends, and he plays for T1 in South Korea, and he's like A-list celebrity there. Like, he is not just like, here you have athletes who, like, obviously, like, most athletes are pretty well known, but like on football, for example, like the defensive linemen, not many of them get that much talent or that much like awareness, but it's like the QBs. And I swear he's like as big as like The Rock over there, essentially. Like, he has an ice cream sponsorship. He's on so many different ads for everything. And it just also goes to show you like how different culturally it is there in terms of gaming compared to the US. So he is like, when you mention Faker in South Korea, like everybody knows who he is.
This is hard. I don't know. I'd probably do Rocket League because I played soccer growing up, because you can do like cool tricks with it and you have like skins, which is cool. But I honestly just want to be like the JoJo Pune of whatever I do, to have the confidence of that 17-year-old or 18-year-old, excuse me, he just turned 18 this month, to have his confidence. Please and thank you. That's all I want. And the Crocs, of course.
Excellent. Dude, Faker's so good. Faker has done it again. All right. I have no more questions for you guys. I think we could open it up to discussion if anyone has anything to ask.
And feel free to ask anything.
Oh, that's such a good setup for me.
Maybe not.
In the last panel, I asked, why is it in the metaverse no one has legs? That got a good response. But I'm not asking that this time. I'm just sharing. That was one of my better questions from today. All right, I have two questions, sort of marketing related. So the first one is, you had said that Evil Geniuses is a multimedia company. What is the primary source of revenue at Evil Geniuses?
Partnerships, baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sponsor model.
Partnership.
Okay, my second question is actually a question for Austin. But it's related to something Mikey brought up. Because
Sorry, Austin.
I, too, have had to learn Discord in order to talk with all of the UARC students I've been talking to. And it's been painful and difficult, and I don't like it. And I am trying to figure out why it is so popular. Can you help me understand?
I think just because the brand is marketed as like a gamer voice comm community, and that's like a very essential tool that we as gamers use every day. And so we just kind of default to that. There's also a ton of customization that you can use in it. I don't know. I mean, if you mentioned Slack, like use Slack instead, why not that? That's more like business type thing. We have to open up the application. It doesn't auto open on our PCs. I don't know.
It's also, you can be in so many different channels at once. So like in a Slack, you can have, all your different channels that you have within your organization, but the students are in hundreds upon thousands of servers. So I have like 4. And I was like, dang, this is a lot. Like, there's a lot of things going on in these servers. It's too many notifications. I don't like it. And then you look to my interns and I'm like, wow, why are you in so many things? But you can have private conversations. You can be a part of the Genius League. You can be a part of QWE or GameHers. You can be in so many different areas and get so much information. And each of those servers has their own channels. So we have, I don't know, like 10 channels within the Genius League one. EG has a bunch in their own. So you can be a part of the EG Discord. You can be a part of our Discord. You're getting different information at all times. And it's just a really great way to communicate. When I get on in the morning, so I get, hop on about 9 o'clock in the morning, check things. Conversations have been happening all freaking night long from people around the world, which is so cool to be able to connect with them. But I know your pain. I've had so many questions about like, why do we do this? Why is this so important? But it really, over the last year, I've learned so much and been able to connect with people I should have never been able to connect with because of Discord.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. Practiced.
I tried.
You did great, Austin. You did great. Yeah.
Questions? Don't be afraid. I said to ask them.
Yeah, we can go do.
What's your question, Dad?
So cute.
By the way, Austin's doing a great job
Yes,
up
he
there.
is. Yes.
He must have had great parents. No, just kidding. So I've always instilled in my kids to love what you do, right? So some of us may not have had that opportunity, but I've really wanted that for them. So it sounds like you guys are having fun while you're working, and you've moved around in different jobs and kind of landed here. But it sounds like you really like what you do, right? So what is it in your industry that draws you to it and that has you having fun and so you love it? So.
Yeah, as someone who spontaneously quit their job about 7 months ago because I was really just hating what I was doing, working way too many hours, wasn't getting paid that well, kind of just miserable in general, and then coming to EG and still work a lot of hours, but getting compensated for it, but also like I love what I do at this point. So I would honestly say that like a lot of my previous jobs, I couldn't really say that. But I think the biggest thing for me is, especially in esports, it's very much more my people in the sense that just gamers. So it's like gaming has always been a very like big focus for me in my life, I would say, a very like comfort zone. But also the fact that esports is a lot more, I would say, inclusive and diverse than a lot of other industries are. I worked in traditional sports and it is very just heavily male dominated and everything. And like my last startup that I was at was, I think 95% men. And going to a company now where I get to work with so many amazing women and also just other people from other backgrounds, it is very refreshing. So it's very nice to just be able to experience everyone else's backgrounds and like hear their life stories and everything, where in a lot of other industries, you just work with a lot of people who are basically the same as you. So I would say it's like a lot of other industries have been very boring. Esports has been pretty fun and inclusive. And there's still work to be done in that sense, but I think it's really getting there and ahead of the game on a lot of other industries.
To like just add off of that, I come from food manufacturing, which a lot of white men. You know, I could only look so high up to see a woman in a leadership role. And I can see them as my peers, but there's no one up above me. And the one thing that really attracted me to Evil Geniuses when I was applying for this job is I love the mission, vision, values. I'm a sucker for mission, vision, values. As long as they align with me, that's absolutely fantastic. But I was lucky enough to have a woman above me and then a woman above her, our CEO, Nicole LaPointe Jameson. And to be able to sit there and say there are so many fantastic women here, along with other individuals, this is so great. And I mentioned my word was disruption earlier. I wanted to be in a space that I could truly make an impact, because in the space that I was in previously, I was not. I was capped in so many areas. I was one of a couple thousand employees. Here, I'm one of like maybe 100. But people, we know each other and we can have these conversations, and we look to the best person to be up on this stage or to be representing us in Singapore, you know, all of those different things. So to really be able to make a difference and say, I know I'm making a difference because I can see the impact within this organization and within this industry is so important. And then interns, I love interns. I was never an intern. I never got the opportunity. I was a psychology major. No one wanted to talk to me. But to be able to say, you know, my interns today will 1000% be leaders tomorrow. And I know that not because of me, but because of the opportunities we're giving them is so fantastic. I have so many interns that they will be my boss for sure. In a couple years, they are going to be running this industry in a way that none of us could ever imagine. And you should come to our panel tomorrow where you get to meet some of them to learn a little bit more about that. But it's just a space where we're really seeing up and coming individuals being able to make such an impactful difference. And I love to see that. You know, do we love work every single day? Not every day. Sometimes it's really hard. Discord just really bugs me at some points, to Lisa's point. But at the end of the day, I know I'm making a difference. I know I'm disrupting something, and it's giving me what I was missing in so many other careers that I've had.
To add to what Mikey said, esports, your day-to-day is never the same. You can't wake up and say, okay, this is my schedule. You kind of have a run of show, right, of what your day will look like. But when I say things get thrown to you, like they get thrown to you and you need them done by end of day. So I like that I feel like I'm always making an impact in my work to where it's not monotonous. It's not, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. To Jesse's point, it's not boring. And two, the people. I work with amazing people who make me laugh. They work hard. Like, we work hard and we play hard, which makes it a lot of fun. So if you're in a place where you like what you're doing, you're with people that you can work well with and y'all, all get along, then holistically, like, you're all loving what you're doing and it makes it a funner, better place to work, I think.
Next question.
Hello. You mentioned Jojo Pion.
I love him.
His Twitter profile picture is actually an Arkansas Razorback basketball player. So that's kind of a cool connection.
Which one?
Daniel Gafford.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, he's
I know.
he's in the NBA now, so.
I know Stanley Amude.
Today, yeah, cool. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You guys are.
There's a deeper story to it, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, he's had that profile pic for a while of him, and it's always just so funny because it's like you want to build a brand, but it's something like that. It's just funny to have.
Yep.
But yeah, I wish I remember what the full story was behind it. But I think in some way he either like knew him or just really enjoyed watching him play. So Jojo Pion's massive basketball fan. He watches it all the time.
I just love what you guys are doing with EG. I guess just the question, like, how often you get to interact with players, if you have any like funny or cool stories with players.
I have got to interact with the Valorant team. They were in the Seattle office for I think like 2 months while they were boot camping and then, playing games and all that kind of fun stuff. My favorite is when players come to the office. We've had our CSGO rosters come through who are new to our organization. We currently have some CSGO teams in there as well. But when they show up and they're like, what do y'all do? Why are you all sitting out here on your computers? Like, this is so crazy. You get here in the morning and you leave at like 5 and you do stuff. We're like, you know what we're doing? We're making sure you're getting paid. So it's really fun to just have those interactions with them because I don't know what they do on a daily basis. They are usually in there screaming and yelling. Boostio is probably one of my favorite players that we have because he's just so boisterous. There was a really funny incident where GamerDoc tried to get him to eat broccoli. Horrific. We can't go too far into those, but it was pretty funny. But to be able to have those interactions for them to say like, I don't know what you do. And we're like, well, we don't know what you do. To have that was really fun. I actually got to go to the Mariners game and meet J-Rod on the field and watch batting practice with the Valorant team and a couple other people due to the person, Cameron's boss over here. So that was really fun to be able to have those interactions, but I haven't got to meet the LCS boys yet. I want to meet JoJo and I want to check out his Crocs.
They're really funny. Yeah. So all of them, it's just jokes all the time. So I would say that. But I would say normally in esports, unless you're working on like the gaming operations side, which would be like general manager, team managers, things like that, the coaches, you don't really interact with the players that much. I would say that we get to do some things, whether it's them doing like player appearances, meet and greets. That's, I would say, more when the marketing team gets to work with them or if we're recording content. But I would say it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's like 2 separate jobs in the sense that they're getting their paycheck to go play games really freaking well, and then we're getting our paycheck to make sure that we're spreading awareness of who EG is and making sure that they're able to get their paycheck, as Mikey said. Mm-hmm. So,
no stories, not too many stories with the players, but we do interact with our content creators a lot, and they're super awesome. They're a chill group. They always like to have a good time, super easy to talk to. So all good experiences.
Any other questions?
I think, were you still wanting to ask yours?
Some of y'all, I feel like I see it in your eyes that you want to ask a question and you're not. No pressure. I just had to point that out. Anyway.
Do you guys have like any special like benefits working at like a big organization like Evil Geniuses?
Ooh, this is the fun question. Esports is really, a lot of teams historically in the past have been pretty bad about giving benefits and everything, and just in general weren't, I don't know. Most of them, it was like very like contract focused and like almost like part-time. EG, I would say, is like by far one of the most well-structured organizations. When I found out that I was getting like dental and eye and everything else, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So like there's definitely depending on the teams you go to, a lot of teams are getting better about it, and it's something that the industry really needs to continue pushing to make it sustainable, because otherwise it's just really rough on them. But yeah, I mean, that's also like one of the great things about like EG as well, is like that's something we do for our players also, and a lot of teams don't usually do that. A lot of teams, it's usually just, hey, here's your monthly check, and that's it. That's all you get. But for us, it's like that check plus you get benefits. We really want to make sure that we take care of them. But I mean, yeah, we get like subscription to different like apps and like partner stuff. We also then get mental health services as we need it. There's a lot of different things that EG really gives us and like helps us with. So that's, I would say, another like huge, amazing thing about working at EG.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm supposed to keep this under the radar, but we get unlimited PTO.
Talk about it. Get it out there.
And it's amazing. I'm going to say I feel like when you have unlimited PTO, we don't take enough of it. We're all very hardworking people, but something that EG stresses a lot is that we are humans before we are EG employees. So when you need time off, take the time off. And sometimes that comes from your supervisor, right? I've had my supervisor tell me twice already, like, Cameron, take off. Like, they're forcing you. They want you to take a break. They want you to relax. And that is super important. And it's a huge benefit, because I know it would be really annoying to track PTO. Like, oh, I only have 5 more days left. You know, that sucks. So yeah, that's a big one.
We really try really hard to do that, like everyone said here already. Having a parent company over us has really helped in that capacity. Peak 6, I think, has driven a lot of things to us as well, which is fantastic. You know, getting those traditional benefits that not all esports people are used to, especially our players. You know, they get 401k, and the company puts in money for that as well, which is really fantastic. But all of these things are really big. We also have really cool snacks in the office. I will say that. Our facilities managers kill the snack game.
We have Gogurt in the office.
We do have Gogurt.
It's amazing.
Our facilities manager in Seattle is actually a soccer coach, so I think he treats us like his soccer players. He's like, they love apples and Gogurt and string cheese, so we have all that. The interns, when they visit both our LA and our Seattle office, they love our coffee machine. We have this really, I guess, cool coffee machine. We also have some cool things in there. So, and having the sponsors,
Monster. Shout
we do
out
have
to
a ton of Monster.
We have fridges everywhere in the office.
A ton of fridges.
It's so nice.
We have some sponsors. We have a local brewing, Elysian Brewing in Seattle. We have beers in the office. We only drink them during happy hour. We don't drink them, while we're working and all that stuff. But there are some really cool benefits in that. And then a lot of times we do, for the rewards and recognition program that we have, individuals get to come to events like this or go to LCS and see our teams play. So that's one really big thing that we like to benefit. But we want to make sure our people are recognized, our players are recognized, but they're also taken care of. I have also been yelled at by managers saying, take some time off. I don't see any time on my calendar that you're off. Please leave. Like, you're done working for today, which is really fantastic.
What does it look like for your employees in terms of, like, is everyone in Seattle or like remote options?
So we really push for people to be either in the Seattle area or the LA area. Obviously with COVID, it's been a little bit more difficult. We all actually have moved to Seattle within the last year. I came from Boise, Idaho, Houston, Texas, and then San Antonio, Texas, and kind of in those areas. We have a lot of Texans with us now. But we do have people, awesome. We do have a lot of individuals at LA because we have a Santa Monica office where our LCS team and our now Valorant team will be housed, which is really fantastic. We have people here in the South, on the East Coast. But we do try and get as many people to the areas depending on their jobs. We do have partnerships individuals over here that they need to be calling on those who are on the East Coast. So we've got people kind of all over the place, but we really try and get you to the evil layer over in Seattle.
And like with that said, like EG, that's a big push for us. And I really enjoy it. After doing remote work for like 2.5 years, having an office space is so nice. It's so nice to have that social aspect back. But in general with esports, like if you want to do remote, you can find a lot of remote positions in esports. And then you can also, if you're just from like middle of nowhere, remote's great. But then also there's a lot of just you'd be surprised at like how many random like different cities around the US have esports openings. And then, like Mr. Beast. You can go live in North Carolina and be working for him. You can be going and there's a lot of teams in Austin, Texas. Like it's a little bit all over the place. Originally, esports used to be really bad about only being based in LA. And if you didn't live in LA or New York, good luck. But I think that's been something that's been changing the last several years. So you can honestly find something kind of near anywhere, just about.
No ads there.
What do you think the esports industry will look like in 5 years or the future?
We actually have a panel on that tomorrow.
Big.
Yeah.
Very, very big.
Yeah, it's going to continue to grow. The big debate that we've kind of constantly had too is when do you drop the E in esports? You know, what does that look like? Because what is sport? It's competitiveness, right? Does it need to be two dudes clashing into each other on a football field? I don't think so. I mean, we've got Jojo Pune clashing with people on Twitter consistently, and it's entertainment. Sports are entertainment overall. So it's going to continue to grow. COVID definitely helped in this arena as well, because you didn't have to go somewhere to watch. You could sit at home in your pajamas, like we were all doing for 2 years, and watch a game from around the world. And our players are doing the exact same thing. So I think it's definitely going to continue to build. And I think that people are going to start recognizing it as a bigger, better thing. I know Cameron and I can kind of speak to this too, that I didn't think I was ever going to be in esports. If you would have told me this 2 years ago that I was going to be sitting in Arkansas on a panel about esports, I'd say, but I'm a potato girl. Like, what do you mean I'm going to be somewhere else? So it's something that's going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to develop. We're going to continue to push the envelope as much as possible, especially at EG, and we can't wait to see what the future holds. And hopefully we've got some more Jojo Punes out there that we can recruit.
Yeah, and to add on to it, I would say 5 years, it sounds like a long time, but in reality, it's kind of quick. But I would say hopefully that we're looking at like leagues being a lot more stable. We're looking at teams be a lot more stable. Because especially in like now, economy, really fun stuff to talk about. Things are rough, and so like some teams have had layoffs, but the thing is a lot of teams are also, there's been a lot of teams who haven't had layoffs because they have a lot of people back of house who really understand how to run essentially a startup at this point and know how to plan for the future. And so I think we're starting to see kind of, hopefully at least, kind of like a turn, a light at the end of the tunnel, in the sense that teams are starting to get a lot smarter about the way they operate. But then also there's just been, in the last few years, a really big push for making esports more inclusive, safer working environment and everything. And so I'm just hoping in 5 years that we really see even bigger strides in that sense. But beyond that, I also think the other thing is that esports is going to just be a lot more diverse, but not in the sense, obviously also in the sense of people, but also in the game titles. Because, I mean, something that's really happened over the pandemic is chess. Chess has become very big online now, and you have all these grandmaster players who always just went and played at LANs who are now streaming on Twitch and streaming on YouTube playing chess. And you're starting to see just a lot of other, I would say like more traditional, like almost like board game-esque, but also like just, you're starting to see people like include more things into esports. Like chess is now starting to almost be called an esport in that sense. And then you're also like going to have a lot more mobile gaming. And so I also think just like accessibility to esports is going to be massive in the next few years. So, because at the end of the day, gaming, anyone is a gamer in the sense that like if you only play Candy Crush, you're a gamer. If you play Tetris, you're a gamer. Like Tetris World Champions, that's wild to watch. But yeah, I would say that's a big thing, is just a lot more awareness, and a lot more people are actually going to be esport competitors actually.
That was really good. I think in 5 years, esports will be way more, actually, I can't say that. I hope it's more organized. In traditional sports, you know when the Super Bowl is going to happen. You know when the World Series is. You know when, what is the hockey trophy called? Yes, you know when the Stanley Cup tournament is. Like, esports doesn't have that right now. So I'm hoping that in 5 years, as we try to move through our growing pains, that we can figure out like a way to make it organized. That's my hope. I can't say we're promising that. And then, yeah, it's just going to be massive. I know in my hometown, like my school district is adding esports programs middle school now into high schools. That's crazy, you know? So it's going to be huge. I think, Austin, you mentioned it's about to be bigger than football, the fan base, everything like that. So it's definitely the place to be, I think.
And also tacking on to the end there, in terms of like high schools and collegiate, which brings up a great point, is there's been a lot of changes in the infrastructure for esports in the last even just year, in the sense that people are realizing if we want to make this a sustainable long-term product and industry, that you really need to start getting that early buy-in from high school kids. And so you're starting to see a lot more teams do high school outreach. You're starting to see a lot more of the game publishers and league organizers start to run tournaments for high schools, or really just try to get PCs in the hands of high schools. Because I think that's like one of the awesome parts about gaming, is that you really, it is for everyone, in the sense that if you're someone who is not able to play sports, or you just straight up don't like sports, gaming is an avenue that you can kind of take, and being able to participate in your like local like gaming club or like esports club in high school or anything like that, I think is big. And so I really think in the next few years, we're going to see a just even bigger push into that. We're already starting to see a lot of D3 colleges and community colleges who have been kind of just doing away with their football teams, for example, because they realize that is very high overhead. And if you instead start like an esports club or like a varsity team for esports, the overhead on that's a lot easier to manage.
Yeah,
You're not
and you
having
can-
to travel.
You can get a full ride for collegiate esports programs. Don't know if y'all knew that, but that's huge, you know? That's awesome.
That's one thing we really want to push. I think that's one thing that EG wants to do as well, just being in the collegiate space. You know, when you think of those individuals who want to play in the NFL, they know how they need to do that. They know I need to play, you know, start when I'm young, go into high school, do really well, get the grades I need to get to college, then to get to the NFL. People don't know that about esports. They don't know, I'm from Boise. I don't love Boise State, but you know what? They've got a really good program, and they're really helping to get students in that area this opportunity, and they give them scholarships, full rides. They have full ride scholarships, which is absolutely fantastic to play God knows how many games. And to be able to have those opportunities and have those conversations is really important. I get reached out to by so many high school individuals saying, how do I get here? And we want to have those conversations, and we got to talk to our partnerships people to say, hey, where can we do this? We don't want to just look at collegiate, but how do we get those high school kids involved? And then how do we get those collegiate universities involved where they don't recognize their esports club? You know, they're not affiliated with their university. That's more of an issue as well. And making sure that we can kind of pull them into this fold is really important. I think we have time for one more, or are we out of time? One more? If there's one more, last question.
I have one.
All right.
Where could we find EG? Like, what are your socials?
We love
and all
that
of that.
question. So you can find me on Twitter at Mike Drop, or in Discord, the Genius League Discord. I'm in there. At LinkedIn, it's Mikey Rauer. It's my normal name. So that's where you can find us. You can also follow Evil Geniuses on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those different areas.
Join our Discord, both the Evil Geniuses Discord and the Genius League Discord.
Yes. And the Creator Collective YouTube channel.
And the Creator Collective
we want
YouTube
that.
channel.
But that's where you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn.
And then you can find me on Twitter at Jesse Roberts. So instead of Roberts, it's just a W instead of the R.
And then I'm plain LinkedIn. Yeah.
But you can also come talk to us at the booth as well. Out here, we'll be here today for the rest of today and tomorrow. If you have other questions that you just didn't want to ask in a big group or they're more personalized, please come find us. We also have some cool swag bags that I see some people here in the front row have. If you want one of those, you got to scan to get into the Discord, but we'll give it to you. But come ask us some questions. We love to interact with everyone. And you can also get a headshot because we've got a fantastic photographer down here taking headshot pictures for free. So come over there.
And we have our wonderful Genius League past and present interns doing a panel tomorrow at
noon on the main stage. So you can't miss it if you're walking around. And we've got some Creator Collective people here as well. So come say hi.
Yeah.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Austin.
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome crowd. And again, thank you to Monster. This has been so much fun. Yeah, thanks.
They can't tell me nothing, but give it to the people. Spread it across the country. Here we go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the